What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham GSM Matthews, break down all the content I watch on the WWE Network. Today we're talking the premiere of Straight to the Source featuring Corey Graves that aired last week after Monday Night Raw. Corey Graves has had his fair share of shows here on the network, from Bring It to the Table, which I was going to say this basically is Bring It to the Table. It really isn't. It's almost like Unfiltered, just with Corey Graves and not Renee Young. Unfiltered, they canceled. So why they would get rid of that and then bring Corey Graves in for this show, I'm not sure. Now, I love Corey Graves. This was a good first episode of the show, but it basically was Unfiltered, just not as lighthearted. I mean, it was a nice sneak peek into what Roman Reigns is like as a person, beyond the ring and not in all, the big dog mode and all that other shit. But it really was just a Corey Graves version of Unfiltered. Corey Graves used to host Culture Shock here in the WWE Network a few years ago, which was a good show. Not a lot of wrestling-oriented stuff. He's had Superstar Inc., which was great. That kind of is brought back in chunks from time to time. But yeah, Straight to the Source, I assume, is their latest experiment with shows, original programming on the WWE Network. I would much prefer this over Bring It to the Table, which at times was fucking unbearable. And it's a lot better than hearing JBL yak on for 30 minutes. So you take out Peter Rosenberg and JBL. You put Corey Graves just in there by himself. It's a good show. So anyways, first guest on the show is Roman Reigns. They kick off the episode with Roman Reigns talking about being infected with the mumps. He said, I don't even know if this is going to make the air. I mean, why wouldn't it? It's nothing too secret. We all kind of assumed it was the mumps or some sort of viral meningitis or something like that. So the fact that he said it was the mumps was not too surprising. He wasn't even sure what it was. He had talked about how when they were kids, they did not get injections or vaccinations, I guess would be the right word, for the mumps, because that has long been gone for a long-ass time now. But he was infected, and he was out for about 3 weeks, he said. And when he wasn't in the hospital, he was sitting in a hotel room, so he wasn't really obviously enjoying that time. But he was disappointed at first. He'd be missing TV and the TLC pay-per-view, but then he looked at it as a positive, that he'd be back better than ever. So yeah, the fact that he said it was the mumps was nothing too surprising. And he talks about taking things for granted when he was sick, or rather taking things for granted when he was healthy, and he realized that when he was sick. Like, I'm sure all of us are the same way. We go about our lives doing our everyday things, and then all of a sudden, something's going to happen, and like you're getting infected with the mumps or whatever it might be. You get sick with the mumps, and you can't do your everyday routine, and it drives you fucking crazy. If that happened to me, I would drive myself insane, because I'm always doing something, so I can certainly relate to that. So anyway, he transitions from that to talking about the Shield, and he says that there's a certain DNA that we have between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose. And he says it's crazy to be back with Ambrose and Rollins. He hasn't had time to take it all in between everything that's happened this year with the mumps, and between that and the Hurricane Irma that happened a few months ago that I don't think wrecked his home, but it had a pretty heavy impact around where he lives a few months ago. But yeah, I mean, we've heard this all before. We heard the Shield on Table for Three, on Ride Along, so not the first time we've heard this, but it's always cool to hear some Shield talk. He says that it didn't really feel like they were around for a year and a half the first time around, which is right. I mean, is absolutely accurate. It did not feel like they were around for such a short period of time. It felt like they were around for such a long period of time, which is not a knock on them that, it felt longer than it actually was, but it did in a good way. Like, they had accomplished so much together and have accomplished so much apart as singles competitors that it's crazy to think they were only really together from November of 2012 to June of 2014, which really is not that long. Like, the New Day has been together for twice that amount, for about 3 years, from November of 2014 to present day. So they weren't together for that long, but it felt a lot longer than it did. But just in terms of what they accomplished, not like, they've been around for way too long, they've overstayed their welcome. So he is accurate in talking about that in that respect. He says their chemistry is on point, and which, again, is accurate. These guys have amazing chemistry together. Regardless of what you think of these guys on their own, whether Roman Reigns is boring or Ambrose is better as a heel, whenever they're together, it's fucking magic. And that was absolutely evident at Survivor Series a few weeks ago. Roman talks about Ambrose doing a lot of flexing in their matches, specifically at Survivor Series, the aforementioned event, after they put, I think, Kofi Kingston, not through a table, but they put him through a triple powerbomb off the top rope, which they had never done before. And then afterwards, Dean Ambrose was like flexing, like, and Seth was like, you got to cover him because you're the one that has to take the pin, or you're the one that has to pin him to win the match, which was funny. They said Roman talks about the Shield lighting a fire underneath all three of them, and then transitions from that to the crowd reactions that Roman gets, and how it's very John Cena-esque, or what John Cena used to get. I mean, it's not so much like that anymore for John Cena. For Roman, it's a lot of boos or a lot of cheers, and recently it's been a lot of cheers. Now, I don't know if it's the towns they're going to, or just the Shield, a product of the Shield. I'm not exactly sure. But he says he puts his heart into it every single night, and he feels that the crowd respects that, and that a reaction is a reaction, which is the answer that you would expect him to give. It's not like he said, I really want to go heel or anything. I fucking hate these people, whatever. He just goes out there to have a good time, and he has a love-hate relationship with the crowd, is what he says. And he says he wants that respect, guys that John Cena has or the Undertaker have and stuff like that, which I would argue that he has, but I think I see what he means. Like, I feel like when people boo Roman Reigns at these events, for me, it's just to have fun, and I respect the guy. For other people, it might be because they legitimately hate Roman Reigns. For John Cena in 2017, I think people boo him because it's like the thing to do, and they're just having fun. Like after that match with AJ Styles at SummerSlam, when he was walking off, people weren't booing him after he lost that match. People were cheering him. They were paying him respect, and that's what Roman Reigns wants. Speaking of John Cena, he talks about his feud with Cena recently, and Cena really digging into him during their promos, which they show clips of. He says he doesn't worry about what other people say about him, specifically John Cena, even on television. He calls John Cena the best on the mic, which is not a far-fetched opinion at all. Cena is fucking great on the mic when he wants to be. But yeah, he kind of disregards what Cena has to say, or what the detractors say, or what the haters say, because he knows him, he knows what he's capable of, he knows how good he is, so he doesn't listen to what they have to say, which is a good mindset to have, by the way. So he talks about the emotions that he felt the night that he retired The Undertaker, seemingly. The Undertaker might be back. I know he's back on the 25th anniversary show coming up in Brooklyn, or New York City, whatever, and I know he'll be back on that show. It's unknown whether he's going to be wrestling again. I really hope not. I fucking hope not. But anyway, so he talks about how he did not know he would be as emotional as he ended up being after that match. He knew it would be a big deal, but coming out of the match, after he pinned Undertaker, he did not know he would have this rush of emotion as much as he would. And he talks about the post-WrestleMania 33 promo. Yeah, that promo where he came out into the crowd and they fucking shat all over him for like 5-10 minutes without him even saying a word, which was absolutely glorious. One of the best segments on Raw all year, which was incredible. So he talks about that and, how they were chanting for Undertaker. He doesn't really talk about the boos that he got. He just kind of talked about how the crowd kicked off that Raw saying thank you, Undertaker, for like 5 minutes straight before transitioning into we fucking hate Roman Reigns. So he says that he's WWE's top guy, which if he didn't say that, I mean, when Corey Graves asks him, with John Cena gone and other people taking a part-time role, are you WWE's top guy? He says, absolutely. I mean, what else would you expect him to say? That's not much of a surprise. And then what got people talking over the last week in social media, he said that he is the best performer in the world. Not only in WWE, in the world. I think AJ Styles might have something to say about that. I mean, it's hard to say that you're the best performer in the world when you're not even the best performer in your own company. And some people could say he's not even the best performer in the entire Shield between him, Ambrose, and Rollins. So again, is it true? No. It's all subjective. What is the best? In terms of merchandise, in the ring, on the mic, absolutely not on the mic with Roman Reigns. If he feels that way, again, that's how he should feel. I expect nothing less. Of course, he said that to get people talking and to watch the fucking show. What else? Why else would he say that? Why else? This is not the first time he said it. It won't be the last time he says it. So don't get your panties all scrunched up in a bunch with your comments about, Kenny Omega's better, or, Yoshitatsu's better. I mean, we all know that Roman Reigns is not the best performer or wrestler in the world. If you think that, that's awesome. I don't think so. But again, he said that because he feels that way. Expect nothing less. So he references his matches, which is true. I will give him that. He's not a terrible wrestler. The guy has had so many great matches. He is very John Cena in that respect, where he got a lot of shit early on in his singles career for not being a good wrestler, the John Cena 5 moves of doom and the fact that he always goes over, but the guy delivers when it matters most. And he delivers, period. The match with Jason Jordan on Raw, excellent. I thought the Elias match was very good. Some other people didn't think so, but from Elias to the Big Show, Brock Lesnar, the Taker match wasn't great. It was fine for what it was. The John Cena match, Bray Wyatt, you name him, he's had great matches with him. So I think he is justified in feeling like one of the best, maybe not the best, though. And then to close out the episode, he talks very briefly about the twins that he had with his wife about a year ago, which is why he took time off TV for their birth, which I guess I didn't even know about that. I figured he had a kid. I know he has a kid. I think maybe from a previous marriage. I don't know if it's his daughter or his wife's daughter. I'm not sure. But they had twins about a year ago, which I had no idea about. And I don't even remember him taking time off TV. Maybe there was one episode of Raw that he was not there for, but I can't recall myself. So anyway, that was it. The next episode is going to focus on Enzo Amore and Corey Graves, which will certainly be interesting, because Corey Graves on TV has never been fond of Enzo Amore, and even more recently in their Twitter beef on social media, going back and forth. So I doubt it's legitimate. They were kind of just ribbing each other, whatever. So we'll find more about that in next week's episode. I think it's next week, if not the week after. I'm not sure. On an upcoming episode of Straight to the Source. So for night 1, episode 1, the pilot, the premiere, I thought this was good. I enjoyed this. Roman Reigns came off great. Comes off a lot better in these type of settings, like in interviews and these type of shows, than he ever does on TV. On TV, he comes across like a total asshole, a complete jerkface. So Roman Reigns, if you really want to get to know the real Roman Reigns, watch this show. It's about 15 minutes long, not too long at all. Well worth the time to check out. And Roman Reigns is a pretty notable guest to have on for the first episode, so I'm glad they kicked off the premiere of the show with that. And that's about it, so be sure to check out Straight to the Source on WWE Network, and also check out my next episode of WWE Network and Chill. You won't have to wait a week for it. We might talk about whatever airs on the network on WWE Network and Chill next Sunday. But the show will be back tomorrow with my review of Season 7, Episode, I think 5, of Total Divas that aired this past week on the E! Network. Check out that review going up tomorrow right here on the channel. And be sure to like the video, subscribe, share the video, and drop a comment as well. All that stuff is amazingly appreciated. Like I said, subscribe for more daily content. We got videos going up every single day. So have a great rest of your weekend, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.